Hi, welcome to day 6 of Sewing for My Future Kids. I got the matching thread color yesterday. I think this is the closest. I think we're gonna go with that. I think it's also the only option. But I realized I did something wrong. And not that I did it wrong in the last video, but I did it wrong while testing out the thread late last night, and I didn't get to film that part. But I'll show you what I did and you'll see what I mean. I should have started the stitching differently, but let me show you. So this is currently how it looks like. I think I left off saying that I'm gonna be doing the stitching, and obviously I didn't have the matching thread, so I didn't get that started. But if you think this looks any different, I didn't do anything except to flip this to the other side. But let me show you what I did wrong. So let me lay this out here on the table. It doesn't necessarily look wrong. So the thread matching is great. I think I like that thread color, but I only stitched from here to here because I was confused. Like, why would I stitch from up here all the way through and then I can't flip this over? Anyway, so what I'm supposed to do, I think, is that I'm just supposed to go ahead and do like all of this, sew all the binding at the same time. And what I mean by that is that it will be on one go under the sewing machine. So I'm going to guess that I start somewhere near the seam and then I work my way all around, keeping the same, I guess, stitch placement across the straps. So it would be going through here all the way until I go back to my origin point and then finish there, and then the seam, not the seam, but the last stitch would be there. And obviously it looks wrong like this. Like, you can see where I started and ended. And I was like, maybe I shouldn't because it's gonna end up closed. I should probably start down here. But no, I was wrong. I just needed to do it continuously. So let's unpick this seam. Let me just press it again, just to make sure we're good, especially on the part that I just undid. So I pressed all the seams, and now it looks like this, which really I don't think changed too much. And I'm gonna start on one of these two armholes and then work my way around. So I'm gonna start like this way. Just something I feel more comfortable with, just going this way. And I could take off the bottom part of my machine, but I think this should be okay for me right now. I'm going to like just barely be in the middle of my foot. You have a little line right here. I'm just barely gonna go over it, and that's kind of where I'm gonna keep the needle. Place my foot down and take off a few of these now that that's secure. Maybe I'll start a little bit, maybe a little bit closer to the seam line, around there, making sure all the fabric is flat. And I think I'm happy with that, so I'm gonna lock it in, and that just barely grabs the fabric. Here, I'll show you. There we go. You see how like it just barely passes over the center line? So that's how I'm gonna sew it. So let's get started. I'm gonna go very slowly. And this is what it looks like so far. So I pivoted around here and just closed that seam there. And then here I'm gonna have to just an armhole, but I'm gonna have to press this pretty well. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing that all around. So I still have a little bit to go. This is what we got. I definitely have to do a press to get all the seams like to lay flat again. But I think we're one step closer to it being finally done. Next thing is going to be this bottom hem, which I can just do now too. But let's press this. So I have pressed it all down, and it looks like this now. Of course there are like, you can see the chalk still, but I can wash that out at the end once I'm done. Now there's two things I have to do. Create the buttonholes, which I can use my sewing machine for. Like, I'm not sure if it goes under or over. I think like this. buttonhole goes on this one. I think button goes on the front. So buttonhole here and then buttonhole here. That looks so cute. And I need to do the hem. On the instructions on this, for this gown, or this slip, it says to make a narrow hem, and I think I'm gonna do a narrow hem. So maybe just keep it consistent with the same hemline here, just to keep everything very simple. Let me cut off this. I'm gonna go ahead and do my hem. And the hem, let me fold this inside out. So for the hem, also guys, look how good this part came out. I'm actually really proud of this little seam. Some might say it's a bulky seam, but I say it's a good effort seam because it doesn't look too bad. Now, okay, so for this hem, I need to do like a very, very tiny hemline or fold like this. And then I'm gonna do a slightly bigger fold like that. I can do one a little thicker. I think this actually doesn't look too bad. So yeah, like 1/4 of an inch fold, just to make sure I catch enough. So I'm gonna go and press it all the way around, first 1/4 inch, and then I'm gonna fold 5/8 might be too much. Something like that. Maybe 1/2 inch. So here's the 1/4 inch fold. I did it by eye, so let's actually see if it is 1/4 of an inch. Nice, so just about, maybe like a little bit less than 1/4 of an inch, but that will do. And so now I'm gonna I could do another narrow hem, but I kind of just want it to be a little bit higher up, sort of like up here, so it becomes more like a little belly button type of blouse. Not a crop top, but just like a little bit more cute, because I have in mind to make like a little diaper cover that's a little bit higher up. So I think this will be cute. So maybe I do a 5/8 of an inch. I don't know. Okay, let's do 5/8. Let's just work with that. Now this is the bottom hem. So you can see that I like folded the 1/4 over like that. And now I'm just gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna sew right over it, like following that very, very close to the edge. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm gonna start right before here. And oh my goodness, look how pretty that looks. It's so neat. Okay, now I'm gonna put this right here, and I can go ahead and take this off. This is just to hold that seam down. The seam is a little bit tricky. I had very little to work with in terms of the fabric when I was folding the 1/4 inch over. So yeah, I think this should be okay. Let's put the needle in. Perfect. And I'm gonna do the same exact thing I did before, just staying really close to that line. Here, and then just do some back stitches. And then I'm gonna cut this one really close to the fabric, but the one that I started out with, I can actually pull to the other side and then tie it off there. I think the loop is right here. So this will pull the string from the other side through the fabric, and then you just tie it off. And it just kind of gives a little bit of a better finish on the other side. This is if you have a top stitch. It works out really well to just bring it to the other side. If you were to have done this the top stitch way, I just went ahead and did it by sewing through the back, because I still haven't mastered that yet, and I have a hard time calculating if I'm like right on the edge or not. So it looks on this side. So that completes the body. Turn it inside out to see how it looks. And this is how it looks. Now, let's see. So yeah, here you can see this is the hem. I think it did pretty okay. Maybe the back I was a little bit wobbly. You can see exactly where. Front's pretty good, and yeah, so this is how it looks like. I guess if you're wondering, it looks short, which it kind of is short, but it's because I want to make some really cute diaper covers or a diaper cover that is a little bit more high-waisted, and so that will kind of give it, I don't know, a cuter effect if it's cropped, because then you can see the details of the diaper cover. And yeah, I really love it. I'm gonna now do the buttonholes. Actually, let's practice how to do buttonholes before I go ahead and do them on here. So let's do that. I've used a buttonhole accessory before, but every time I haven't used it in a while, I just forget how to work with it. So let's go back to our manual and look up buttonhole. Sew a button. Well, I don't want to sew the button, but I want to make the buttonhole. Okay, VH1. So 31. And I'm gonna get my buttonhole foot. All we gotta do is take this button out. Oh, okay, so I move it here. I'm going to place my button right in here and then close it up. Whoa. Okay, let's try this again. So, oh, this button's too small. Could it be? Maybe. Let's see if I can get it centered. There. Okay, so I have this, the buttons placed. First things first is attaching our buttonhole foot. I already placed my button in there, which I moved this away in order to open it up, put the button and closed it snugly. And then do this with your machine off. So take that foot off, place your buttonhole foot. Mine came with my machine. Place it right where your other foot was. Let it click in place. And now you'll see that it kind of has this springy motion. And on my instructions, it says pull the button holder to the far back. And then this lever right here, you can't really see it, but this is a button holder. What it's telling me to do is pull the button holder to far back, insert fabric underfoot, remove the fabric to the left to draw both threads to the left. If I remember correctly, this goes like this. So like I pull this out all the way like that, and then I place the foot over here so it holds it in place. So now it can't move backwards. Turns out I was on the wrong page, but essentially it was just slightly different than the real thing. So yeah, we place our buttonhole foot on the machine, place our button, we make sure that this is the right size, and then we use the buttonhole lever to then lock it in place. So they lock this one, not that one. So this is how to do it. We add our buttonhole foot, and once we add it in, we make sure that the thread goes through the front hole. We then lower our button hole lever. We place it right behind here, so right there. And now there should be no space. You see how there's space up here? This should control that, and there should be no space, and it should be closed. So now once that's ready, you make sure you press their BH1 button, and then I'm going to just align it with the little X I made. I'm assuming that's how you align it. We'll see. And then we're gonna go ahead and it says depress the foot control until machine stops by itself. Okay, so you see how long that buttonhole is? Well, the button is definitely not that big. And so that's my first indicator that I'm not placing something in the right place. You see that? It's much bigger. So I just tried it again, and I was just way too eager. I don't know why I thought it was going to keep going, but actually it was going to stop pretty soon after that. So now what I really want to practice is centering. Okay, so this is officially the tutorial for making a buttonhole. So I'll start up from the beginning again. So turn your machine off, and then I'm going to add my buttonhole holder. My button's already in there, and if you need to adjust the size, it's with this lever. Just push it down and it moves all of it. So it moves this outer casing, not this middle one. So once the button is in the right place, I'm going to attach my foot to the foot holder position right here onto my machine. Personally, I find it a lot easier to guide the needle thread into this hole that I'm supposed to guide at, this bottom hole. easier before I add it into the machine, so I just kind of threaded it like that. But that is just what I have found works for me. Just clip it in and then just pull my threads to the left. Oh, now once I have that, I'm going to bring down my buttonhole lever, which is right here, and I'm going to attach it to this part, not the back. So I'm going to place it right behind it, in the middle of both of those, and then place it right there. That's good. Now once I have that, I'm going to turn my machine on and press BH1, which is just the code that works for my machine. And I just got another piece of fabric. So I'm going to mark exactly where I want this buttonhole to be, and I'm going to make like a T as my marker, and that being because it's probably going to start down here and then work its way up. So let's see if this works. Fabric underneath, and I'll show you it looks from the top. So this is as close as I can get, but you can kind of see the marker. I'm going to place my fabric and try to align the bottom part of the T into the markers that I see on my machine. Let's see if I can find, there's the bottom part of the T. I'm just going to place it like, so I placed the bottom part of the T right there. So let's see. Once that's ready, I am simply going to press my foot control and then just start. And it's done. So I'm going to take this out. Okay, 2 things we need to do actually before we continue. First one is open up the buttonhole and test out how it works with my button. So let me unzoom this for a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna insert this, and I'm also gonna add a pin right here. That pin's very important so that you don't cut your fabric all the way through. So I'm gonna pin it just where it meets, I guess, the tack part of the button, like right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and insert my seam cutter, and then I'm just gonna slide it up until it hits that pin. And there you have an open buttonhole. Then you have your button, and then you can test it out. So yeah, see, it stays right in the middle. I think this worked beautifully. So now it's time to mark my fabric. Looking at the instructions from the 1950s pattern, it says that I should make a vertical buttonhole on the front shoulder. So like this. So that's what I'm just gonna follow. Okay, so I'm gonna mark only the front. So I want to say that my buttonhole is, about 1/2 inch. But let's just say it's 1/2 inch, maybe a little bit more. So like 5/8 of an inch. I'm gonna mark my bottom line and then just let it do its thing. So from that line, and then just try and make the center coincide with the middle of this. And I'm gonna do that by eye. Something like that. This one's a little bit more. So maybe start it down here. It should work out. So now let me go ahead and sew the buttonholes. Now let's put our first buttonhole in. So I'm gonna cut this off, snip the top threads. So first buttonhole is done. Just super fast. And now let's do the second buttonhole. That's done too. Snip this here, snip this there. So we got both buttonholes now. So now I'm gonna open them, just how I showed you before, right below the tack. I'm assuming it's called a bar tack, but I don't know. You guys let me know. Like that. Little safety pin, basically. And then we go ahead and just pierce the fabric down here. Like that. And then just go straight up until it hits that pin. And now we do the same thing on the other side. pretty good. And then I'm gonna pierce the fabric and go there. Just make sure you always have like a good seam ripper on hand so that you don't really struggle too much through that. We have our buttonholes now. And now the only thing left for this piece is to sew on the buttons. So I can't believe the first piece is almost done. We just did the buttonholes, and yeah, so I think next time I'm gonna add the buttons, just sew those in by hand, and also get started on the bloomers. And for the bloomers, or like the little baby diaper covers, I've been looking at a few online that I've seen that I like. I might just get the pattern that I have right now, which is a vintage Laura Ashley pattern, and modify it a little bit so that it kind of matches the ones that I've seen online, but you know, with my own little twist. So we'll get started on that next video. So yeah, so this is what we have so far. Make sure to comment, like, share, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video and tomorrow. Bye!